Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In both the channels today I will publish this interview and let's explore Norway and spiritual talk both. And I have great opportunity to interact one of my special guests today, and her name is Sanatani Kiran and popularly known as Sanatani Devi Dasi. Welcome. First of all, I would like to call her as a Krishna Bhakta, and her name also reflect that. Sanatani is a word come from our Sanatan Dharma, which talks about that Sanatani is basically it's a person who master in our Vedas, Upanishad, and understand that. So basically this word come from that. I think you know better than that. And she is associated with Iskcon since 2010, and from last 3 years she is running and leading the activities for Iskcon in Oslo, and doing lot of great activities here. And I have participated recently last Saturday. There is a Radhashtami celebration was there, and I have seen a great energy over there, and I got an opportunity to meet some great people there, and it's my privilege that I have attended first time Iskcon event here, and my lot of viewers was requested me why you are not covering the Iskcon activities there. So I promise them I will do that, and even I will try to bring some Krishna Bhakta, those who are from the Iskcon, in my YouTube channel, and I will try to introduce them and try to learn something from them. So let's straight away, that is the introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank you. You had given opportunity me to speak and given your valuable time, and welcome you once again. And so I will start with my couple of questions.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. So the first thing which I am just trying to understand from you, that tell me something about your life journey, because it's not easy to follow this path first of all. So I would really like to interest about how was your journey. If you tell me how was your family background, your childhood, something, and then I will talk about your Krishna conscious journey.
So I was born in Norway, in the north of Norway, up in a town called Finnsnes.
Okay.
My dad, he worked in the army. So when I was 3 years old, we moved down to Drøbak, which is here south of Oslo. And I had a quite normal childhood. You know, my family was not religious in any kind of way. It was more like, be who you want to be and be happy. And then when I wanted to study, I moved to Denmark.
Okay.
And it was more there in my early 20s that I started to have interest for spirituality, and I was reading a lot of New Age, and I had my first travel to India when I was living in Denmark, and it was there I got the taste of
which year it was?
My first trip to India was in 2007.
2007. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I went down to, I went into an ashram in South India to be in Mauna and to practice meditation. And then after that I traveled around, you know, all the way around south, passed by Mumbai, I went up to Rishikesh, and then I got bit by the yoga, what do you call it?
What was the
inspiration.
Your age that time?
I was 24.
24, okay.
Yeah, I had just finished my studies as a school teacher.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I traveled around in India, and when I came back to Denmark, I had an Indian friend, and he said, well, did you know there's a Krishna temple here? And I was like, what, really? And then I started going to the temple there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, in 24 years, you are saying you went there and you have that realization of yoga, meditation and all. How that come? Because as you said, your family background was not the religious, that much religious background, right? And then how that sense you have got it that you should follow that path?
Well, it started very broad. Like I started listening to Eckhart Tolle and some, I liked to go to different meditation circles and listen to different bhajans, but I didn't know so much about India until I went there.
Okay.
And then after traveling around, and then I came back to India, back to Denmark, I wanted to do a yoga teacher training, so I went back to India, and then I kept coming back every year. But it was not until I became more frequent at the Iskcon temple in Copenhagen around 2009, and then 2010 I decided, I was wondering, am I going to follow the bhakti yoga or yoga and just the spiritual life? I was in this little the choice dilemma. And I went to India for a 3-month visa, and I started in Mumbai in the Iskcon Juhu temple, and I bought a life membership in Iskcon, because I heard that when you have the life membership you can stay 3 nights free in every temple. So then I thought, this is going to be my traveling around. So for 3 months I traveled around and living in different temples, and I learned a lot about the different branches and different varieties within Bhakti Yoga. I went to Mayapur, went to Vrindavan. And when I came to Vrindavan the first time, there was the boat festival. So the whole courtyard of the temple was filled with water and flowers. And I was like, wow, this must be the spiritual world. And I remember seeing so many devotees, and it impacted me a lot to see that, because in the West it becomes very small, we're not that many devotees. But when I was there in India, it was everywhere, and everyone had so much faith, so much. It was not faith; it was conviction.
Yes.
That Krishna is God. So when I was in temple after temple, and then I came back to Juhu after 3 months. And when they opened the altar, and I saw Radha Ras Bihari, I just started to cry. Okay. And at that time, I knew that that's the one that's sitting inside my heart. Okay. And then when I came back to Denmark, I decided that this is the way I'm going to live my life.
Okay. So that was in 2007, you said?
This was in 10.
Oh, 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you answered me my second question, which I thought I will ask you, but is specifically this Krishna conscious, your realizations, how it makes the difference basically, and when you have walked that path.
So the difference, the outer difference, I was like a normal student, I was drinking and partying, but then when I became interested in Krishna consciousness, of course you live by different principles. So I was already I already stopped drinking and like this, but then I made the conscious choice about it, I was already a vegetarian also, but I made a conscious choice, I stopped eating eggs, I stopped eating onion and garlic, so it became more of a choice that was an inner, the outer journey, but then the inner journey, it was, I could see myself that I became a more reflected person, and a person that somehow other people started coming and asking me about things to explain, like, what do you think about this? Or, I'm in this situation, can you help me with that? And I was just reading Bhagavad Gita, so it was not like I was not making up any answers. It was like, Arjuna and Krishna understanding, there's this discussion. You have to think, who are really wanting these things you want? Is it your ego, or is it your soul? What do you really want? So it was just, repeating what I read. And I felt that for me that was a change, because before I was speculating, and now I found the real answers.
Realizations.
Yeah, because I remember it was one time in the early days I heard this class with Eckhart Tolle, and he said, I get my answers, I get my inspiration from Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
I was like, but why should I listen to him if I can read Bhagavad Gita? That's what I thought. So then I brought Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, and I started reading, and the purports, the commentary are so describing that it really helped me as a person in my life.
Okay, great. So now coming to that, another aspect of this, I understand your journey now at least, and that is one thing very good you told, that in India at least people has that conviction that there is a Krishna, there is a God, whoever who follow, but at least they have the convictions. That is very important, because having faith and conviction is the difference.
Yeah, very
right?
much.
So that is very good comment you has given about the India. I like it. And now coming to the Norway, particular this country, Norway, how much you feel that percentage of people are Krishna conscious, or follow these methodologies, or I can say not in a terms of devotees, but at least that realizations of it.
So I think Norwegian people in general are a little bit scared of the word God. You know?
That's what I
also
asked
met,
particularly these questions.
But when you speak about, if you can speak about philosophy without mentioning God, in a way, because most people would like to be a good person. They would like to be kind. They would like to help other people.
Yeah.
So, and they don't see it as anything religious. But what I see in Norwegian people, they have much faith in. They like nature. They like to be outside, and many that are non-religious of my friends, they often see that that's where I recharge. That's where I get my spiritual energy from. You know, that they find it a lot out in nature. But for many to take up a path of Krishna consciousness, to take on religious principles, sometimes I think Norwegian people have it too good. You know, there's too much, too good materially. Because when you go to other countries where religion has been suppressed, like communistic countries, etc., they are now very open, and they're just hungry for religion. And but we do see in the temple here in Oslo, a lot of young people are coming. Every year, especially this time, the high schools, they are having in their religion classes, they can get to choose one religious society to come and visit. And we have visitors from now until Christmas. We have visitors every weekend, and they come. They have so many questions, about karma, and what they can do to be a better person, how they can do meditation. So I think everyone relate to karma. Even someone who is a atheist, they could understand this. Whatever you send out, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
So I mean, Norwegian people are very pious. They have this heart of goodness, and they have desire to do good for other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to surrender for something higher, it's hard for many.
Okay, no doubt. But one thing is, you said, see, I also believe on that. It's not necessary that you follow any religion even, but that essence of your spirituality, if you have that, because as you said, the community understand, if I am helping somebody, then that also help me, something I will get back, right? If that essence is there and people understand that, that is about the spirituality, right? To spread the good things and control your happening around you. And so it's not necessary that they follow someone, but that is okay. If they have the realization, they can follow, because that can give you more enlightenment and the different way of living in your life. But of course, So that's how I appreciate that you said, and I also feel that about the Norwegian community. At least people are simplistic and helping nature, loving with the nature, and maintain the nature, and that are the very great qualities of the Norwegian people. I appreciate that. So next, coming to the Iskcon activities, how tell me something. What all activities you are carrying out here in Iskcon? First of all, you tell me how long that Iskcon activities started in Norway.
We were first, I mean, devotees were here already in the 70s.
70s, okay.
Yeah. They opened the first temple in Bergen in the 80s.
80s, okay. Then in the 80s.
Yeah,
okay.
and then they moved to Oslo later in the 80s, and it's been many different temples. One was, it was this gigantic mansion they had, but this was before my time.
Okay.
But when I came here, it was registered as a religious society in 2008. So it's later years.
Okay.
And and then we have, we celebrate, of course, Janmastami, Radhastami, and Gora Punim. Now soon, Govardhan Puja is coming up. So we celebrate all the festivals. But as a regular program, at the place we are now, we have Saturdays and Sundays, and then when there's special occasions. But so the temple we have in Bergen, they have a full Mangala Arti, they have full morning program with lectures and evening bhajans. So it depends on the locations, because earlier, 3-4 years back, we also had in Oslo this with a more full morning program and evening program.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we had the Ratha Yatra with pulling Jagannath cart around Oslo, and
I have seen some pictures on somewhere in net or your.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We have Iskcon Oslo.
I have seen Facebook.
Yeah. So it's we try to keep on to these traditions where we can build a community, so that people, because life can be pretty lonely, so people need to feel a sense of family. And this is kind of what my main focus is for the yatra that we have in Oslo.
Okay, great. So it's a good that I have also I was not aware much about the activities, but that one thing I would say, because the footprints are very long then, if it is 80s and then, but still it was not that much activities I have seen here, but now I think it is, you are doing all the these Radhastami, Janmastami and all those festivals you are celebrating. That is good actually. So now from Iskcon side is fine, I understood, and coming to my favorite topic and the channel which I run, that is basically the spirituality. So my straight question to you, how do you define the spirituality for a common man? Leave the religious side and everything, but like me, I don't know, example, I am not belongs to any religion, or either I don't follow even. But for me, how the spirituality is. So could you define a spirituality for a common man, how it should take that?
I think it's much easier. Okay, let me say it like this. If 50 years ago, where people use the word religion, they now replace it with spirituality. So spiritual, to be spiritual has become a very popular concept. Well, spirituality, I think for the common man, it's something where you have peace of mind. Maybe you do some meditation. You would like to be calm inside. You would like to maybe improve yourself in some way. But it's also before people, if you ask, some may say, that, oh, I'm not religious, I'm only spiritual. Because religion has got this stamp that it means that you have to follow what someone is telling you to do. It means that you have to like what someone else is telling you to like. You have to follow a set of rules. But in spirituality, you're more free.
Correct.
But how I see it as a religious person, like for me personally, I'm quite religious as I see it. I don't see anything negative about it.
Absolutely.
I like the idea of having some rules. It's like I was just speaking to my friend driving here to Oslo, and you know, when I compare traffic in India and traffic in Norway, it's quite nice with those rules in Norway in the traffic. So also in life, it's quite nice to have some guidelines and some rules on where you go, and then you get to use your common sense. Because for me, like to not eat animals, it's common sense. I don't want to cause harm. And it's also, you know, I don't judge anyone who don't follow any, you know, religious principles, because everyone has their own choice. But I feel that for me, those religious principles which I live by, they give me a stronger sense of who I am, who I want to be. Yeah, I don't know if you want to have some supplying questions or...
Yeah. Okay. So, I have read one statement on that part, as you have clarified on that, but still I want to read that. It is written that spirituality is not about religion, neither it is about the gods. Spirituality is a principal way of life. It's an attitude and how you drive your life.
Yes, a state of mind.
State of mind.
Yeah.
So.
But for me, religion is that also.
Yeah, of course. Spirituality always complements the religion. That is for sure. And even if you are a religious, then I feel that if you are a religious, you will more incline towards the spirituality, of course. So that always complements. But as I said, you will see, as you given the example of Norwegian, right? They are not more religious, but they are spiritual, right? So, what I am trying to understand that how that improve your life actually, one's life. It's not necessary that you are religious, but you are religious is okay. That will always give you the path of spirituality, but without following any religion or anything, it also improve your life, right? That's about
to be spiritual. You mean?
To be spiritual.
Of course. It's to be inclined or to have interest of spirituality. It broadens your mind.
Yeah.
It. You know, everyone wants to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is searching for happiness.
Yeah, happiness and peace.
Yeah, everyone is, and someone may find that in nature, someone may find that in meditation, in yoga, and what spirituality is for me and you and a third person may be totally different. Very, very different. Absolutely. So when people are discussing spirituality, first they have to, you know, break down the terms. You know, what is spirituality? What is it that how do we define spirituality? And because it can be a little bit lofty, you know, just to have peace of mind and calmness, but what is it actually, you know? And I mean, Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita a lot about spirituality, you know, to be what he calls it I don't remember, like spiritual reality. And to have a spiritual reality that we are not this body, that we are spirit souls. That's a spiritual reality. And I found that very interesting because spirituality can be a little bit lofty, that it can be a little bit vague. And I mean, I like things to be concrete, like and I found that if you're studying spirituality, you can find everywhere, anywhere. And there's so many teachers to learn from. And how do you know what's true? So, I mean, for me, it has to have some kind of depth in some scripture. And that's where I found that instead of, for me, it was important that it was when I was into spirituality that I was always getting more and more questions. But then when I started studying, I found that it gave me answers. So, I mean, but it is very different for everyone. For everyone.
Correct. So, what I understood that even that Gita you are referring, yes, of course, in Gita it is mentioned that Krishna said, "I am in everyone," and so consider everyone is a particle of God, because everyone has a soul.
And the super
And,
soul.
Yes, and that soul is a subset of God or Krishna. So that feeling, if you do, then that give anyone a realization that how you should treat that person, that soul,
Yeah.
rather than that human being, but how you are treating that soul. So these are the only thing, right? When we talk each other, we are transferring our energy each other, uh, and you will see the people, many people, like they are transferring negative energy, they are harming to the people, and lot of things you will see, the lot of evil things which people do, because they don't understand that this everyone has a soul, and that soul has a subset of the God. So if that feeling comes out, then of course people will start realizing. So I think that you have said very well, and I believe on that perfectly.
It's quite interesting
Yeah.
because when before I was going out distributing books in the street, and always ask them, do you believe you are your body? And they're like, yeah, this is me. It's like, so, but then if you look at a car, and if the driver is not there, the car cannot drive, right? It's the same with the soul, with the body. If the soul is not there,
yeah.
the body is just a lump of matter.
Absolutely.
So if we can develop this understanding that everyone is a spirit soul, like all living entities are a soul,
Absolutely.
and all connected, then it's we will start treating each other much nicer.
Nicely, absolutely. So this is the biggest learning actually from the spirituality. That's what I would say. Nothing relate to religion, anything, but this is some learning which is comes from Gita. Not only Gita, in many other scriptures as well. But this really give a good power to the people to how to treat the people, right?
Yeah.
And lot of challenges what we are facing at this point of time in the world. You look at the Ukraine, and these crises are happening. So that if people understand these spiritual laws, then 100% it give us that power to resolve these kind of conflicts.
Yeah, definitely.
So my next question is, what does mean to have a fulfilling life? Because that is the very people ask me in many forum that I have this desire, that desire, and we never understand that in what level basically you feel that no, now I have everything, now I have house, I have good job, I am earning and everything. So what do you think that these all are the materialistic, right? And people relate their happiness with these things. So what the real fulfillment of anyone's life? How do you see that?
I mean, I haven't realized it myself, but I know according to, like we are all servants, Even if you don't believe in any spirituality or anything, you are a servant of, if you have a dog, you serve your dog. If you have a, family, you serve your children, right? But if we are able to come to that position where we serve higher spirit, God, then you will feel very content. Because it's like if you have a plant and you spray water on, one leaf. That leaf will be very happy, but the other won't. But if you water the soil, the root, meaning God, then if you water that root, then that spreads out to everyone. All the leaves will get. So if you feel content in serving God, and surrendering, then you automatically will feel more content in the rest of your life.
Correct. So one thing is attachment with some God or some whoever you believe that brings you that empowerment to do better in your life. That is one thing. Yes, agree with that. And second, I think desire is the biggest challenge for people, right?
Yeah.
if I have today Tesla, I will aim for any other bigger car or any other bigger brand. And if I had this apartment, then I will aim for Reke house. Then if I have Reke, then I would go for Enavuli. And that desire comes and comes and comes. So that is the, I think, if person can control through these all divine things, what the Krishna conscious also teach us the same thing, right?
So if you can use the same, like when people are often asking me about meditation, and we do in Iskcon we do japa, Hare Krishna japa, and a lot of meditation is to just sit still and watch your mind. You know, I also did this Vipassana course, which was very wonderful, but it was a little bit boring because I'm so used to, like Kirtan and Japa. And with Japa meditation, instead of blocking your senses out, because whatever you block, whenever you stop your mind for some time, it will turn on. Why we are chanting japa is because when you're chanting japa, you are engaging your senses. You're engaging the speech. You should always chant so just as loud as your neighbor. If someone sitting next to you can hear it. So it's not internally. It's you're pronouncing it loud, and you may have some incense. You are meditating on a picture or of God, a form of Krishna, and by engaging the senses, then whatever you do throughout the day will also be engaged in service. So when I go to work, work is from the outside a very materialistic thing because you work to get money to maintain. But I go to work to maintain my Krishna conscious family. My daughter, we buy bhog to cook for Krishna. So whatever we do in our daily life, we engage that in service of Krishna. So it may seem materialistic, but you can dovetail anything into a spiritual path. You can dovetail anything into Krishna's service. So that's a way to engage your desires.
Correct. Absolutely. So now, next question is. Anyway, I have asked already, but now I want to understand, after this walking this journey of spirituality, I would say, though that is a bhakti, Krishna bhakti you went through, then how your lifestyle got changed, basically before this and after this?
Well, I was not wearing a sari before.
No, that is, and my viewers, because my maximum audience is in India, and I am sorry to my audience because maximum people watch, they want me to be in Hindi content, but unfortunately, I cannot much communicate with you in Hindi. So
थोड़ा बोलो.
लेकिन आपने जो साड़ी पहनी है और पूरा परिधान तो इंडियन परिधान है, तो मुझे यही समझना है, but anyway you will not able to understand if I will go into the flow. Okay, so my question is
how it changed my life.
Yes. So how
well, it changed everything, from being a person that is a night person. Now I cherish the mornings because that's when I find the silence and the time for my spiritual practice. So the whole it's not just about believing in God or anything. It's a whole life change. When you offer your whatever you cook, when you offer it to Krishna, it becomes prasadam, and that is purifying you. Your soul. It's cleansing all the dust from the heart. Lifetimes after lifetimes, we accumulate all this dust in our heart, and now it's time to clean it out.
Correct.
And I feel that that's been the biggest change, how I react in situations, because life goes, up and down, up and down, up and down. But now the downs are not down.
Yeah.
It's because I can
really up and down, but
the downs don't feel. Yeah, the downs don't feel that down because
absolutely.
There is I have a philosophical understanding of it. I do believe that everything that happens to you is supposed to happen because there's something you have to go through. And with that conviction, life becomes easier. Yeah. So that's kind of maybe the biggest change, and I've become very tolerant to other people. I don't judge people as much as maybe I used to do. At least I feel that. And I to be invited here, like I feel that your family is my family now. So it is. I feel there's a more. It's like my family has grown a lot, on this path. Wherever I go, whichever country I travel to, there's always, there's a temple, there's devotees I can visit, and you can always get prasadam. There's a Govinda's restaurant in every town, almost of the world. So it's it changed my life in so many ways, and internally and externally.
Absolutely. So viewers, this is the biggest learning actually. What she told. Ups and downs you will see in your life. हिंदी में अगर बोलूँ मैं तो उतार चढ़ाव जिंदगी में आएंगे, परेशानियां जिंदगी में आएंगी, सुख दुख आपका आता रहेगा. लेकिन अगर आप ये इस तरह के जर्नी में जाते हैं तो वो जो दुख वाला टाइम होगा आपको महसूस नहीं होगा. You will not feel that like it is a bad time for you, and you will be the same motivated as what you were in the good time of your life. So this is the biggest learning which she told us, and I also feel sometimes that, because that's how the human life runs. You will see up, down, but maintaining that up and down, your happiness, peace, calm, coolness, same level, that gives you this this journey. So very good thought, and I really appreciate that. So now coming to the next question, very interesting question. You visited in India, and of course the Indian cultures and the spirituality and the Krishna conscious, the motivation that comes from the India, you said. So how do you feel that, how is the Indian people as a community have this essence of Krishna, you call it, or anything, or spirituality? Because you visited in India.
Yeah, many times.
Many times, right? You spent a lot of time in Vrindavan, you said, and Haridwar, Rishikesh, you told me, and then you said you visit in South Bangalore. Yeah. And
I've been Mahabalipuram, Pondicherry, but now usually I go to Mayapur or Vrindavan. I mean, whenever I come to India, like last time when I came with my daughter, the first thing she said, "Mom, it's so dirty, we have to clean." Because here in the schools, they go picking up garbage, they teach the kids about this thing. But then, after some time, she also gets used to it, and you don't see it. But there is something special about India, because wherever you go, however people's situation are, they are smiling. I mean, it's so rare that I find unhappy people. Even I brought my mother to Vrindavan also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, there's so much poverty," and I was like, "Yeah, but they are happy." And she wants to fix it. It's like, you cannot fix it. You can give them rice, give them grains, give like this. But they are really happy how they are, because they believe that they are where they're supposed to be. But then, I see how the culture is becoming less and less, in especially maybe in cities. India has such a deep, great culture, and all the depth in the scripture. Even the dress style, the ethnic Vedic dress, saris and dhotis. It's so I don't know if the youth don't see it in India because it's so beautiful. These Western clothes, they're terrible. And I see that the youth in India today, they want to be more like the West. And if you go to the West, they want to be more like the West. Yeah, exactly. They're searching for the Eastern culture. Yeah. So it makes me a little bit sad. To see that the culture is disappearing. But when you come out on the countrysides, in the villages, you see that it's, when I go to Vashana and like this, you see that the culture is still there,
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is what we have to give to our kids here.
Absolutely. Great. So that is, viewers, she has a great regard to our Indian culture, of course, and the ethnics wearing, and the people how has the conviction about their religion, gods, whatever it is, whatever we pray for. So that are the very great feelings from her. Thank you so much on behalf of Indian people.
Thank you.
And now going to the end of this interview almost. So my last question, I would not say last, but before that last, I just, when you get into this Krishna Bhakti and area, do you have seen any rigidity from your family side?
Some negativity?
Yeah.
I mean
how supportive? I would ask that differently. How was your family, your relative, your people around you, friend, and how they were supportive, or they were encouraging, or either they were little reluctant, and
I would say more reluctant.
Yeah.
But my father, he always said, like, do whatever makes you happy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember I wanted to take my daughter to India for half a year, and my mother was like, "Oh, it's going to be so dangerous, so dangerous place, alone, woman and child." And my father was like, "Whatever makes you happy, you should follow that." So my brother, he is a non-believer.
Okay.
He lives in Germany. My elder brother. And he always tried to make fun of me, but but I know how to make a joke back.
Yes.
No, at some point it become tolerant. It's we are so different, and even just because you're born in the same family, it doesn't mean you're going to choose the same path. But we all get along very nicely. I love when I'm able to cook for them. And then, my mom today, she lives just 5 minutes away from me. She's very supportive. She's become very good in cooking vegetarian food.
Okay.
And my brother lives in Germany, so I don't see him that often. But we always, we speak on the phone and like this. And my father lives up in the mountains in Norway.
Oh, okay.
So whenever I go there to visit him, he always have, I always bring my deities, and then he has, some respect for it.
Yeah,
so I think if I'm able to respect the way they live their life, then they are also respecting the way I live my life. Yeah.
Okay, great. With this question, the final message which you want to give all Krishna followers in India, not only in India, across the globe. What is the message you want to give them?
Such a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility, but I would like to give some key message to them so that people can get benefited. Because I can say that the way you have developed your personality, and it really have the learning, at least from the people, as you said very well, people are following east to west, and east side are people following the west. And in India we have that culture, but people are following the west now. So that in that situation, definitely you have to give some message to the people.
So we have lived millions of lifetimes, but now we have been gifted this human body.
Yeah.
And we should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
We are the only species that can ask ourselves, who am I? Who is God? and we should really take advantage of that and start searching and take up a book, read Srimad Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam, and read those scriptures and chant japa, chant and be happy.
Thank you so much. So once again, it's a great pleasure to me to interact with you and got some insight of this chanting and Iskcon, how it is performing, and even I believe and trust and on the same way but differently. But my main purpose was to get in this forum. You like people, you like personalities, and at least the viewers, those who sing, they will have that sense of spirituality, humanity, and at least people can improve their life. So that was my whole purpose. Thank you so much to giving me that opportunity to interact. And viewers, एक और मुलाकात दूसरे किसी पर्सनालिटी के साथ होगी. तब तक अपना ध्यान रखें, ख्याल रखें, स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें. And you give me the comment and questions if you want to ask anything to Sanatani ji, and I would on behalf of you, I will get you the answers. If you have any questions, you just to give me the comment on that same blog, and I will get you answer from her.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.